Black Ops 2 is not just one of the most celebrated Call of Duty titles ever, but it's also one of the most praised first-person shooters ever. People love the weapons and gunplay, the maps, and even little things like custom emblems and camos, and that's all just multiplayer stuff. The game also contains a thrilling campaign and features some of the greatest zombies maps in the history of the series. That game released over 10 years ago, and most people, although they long for the days of Raid and Carrier, have since moved on. Either they're playing the newest game in the series, or they've moved on from multiplayer shooters entirely. But one common thing between these two walks of life is that anywhere you go on the internet, if Call of Duty is the topic of conversation, Black Ops 2 is close behind. So now that it's been over 10 years since the game released, I figured we'd go back and see how things are doing. What made the game so great, and do those features still hold up today? A few notes before the video starts, however. First off, I will not be discussing the campaign in this video, with my reasoning being I plan to do a Black Ops retrospective series, very much like my Arkham series, where I'll go more in depth on the story and how it relates to Black Ops 1. Second, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I talk about video games on this channel, whether it's reviewing them or analyzing them, so if that interests you, be sure to join our community. Also, check out my second channel. I've been posting more on there recently. I do a lot of variety gaming content on there, mostly stream highlights, but I put a lot more effort into the editing of the videos posted on there as of late, so I'd really appreciate it if you check it out. Finally, if you need a gaming energy mix that's free of all the nasty stuff that the leading brands contain, be sure to check out w.gg. Not only is it cleaner than its competitors, it also contains zero sugar and calories. If that interests you, be sure to go to w.gg and use code RatedEm for 10% off your order at checkout. Alright, let's start with the multiplayer. The multiplayer was loved for its weapons, maps, and rewarding progression. Starting with weapons, the game featured guns that would become icons in the series, such as the MSMC, the Ballista, the DSR, the M8A1, and the M1216 shotgun. These are all classic weapons that were introduced in this game. They were fun to use, they either hit like a truck or had a fire rate faster than the speed of light. The devs kinda prioritized fun over fairness, but it wasn't even that bad, as there was a multitude of guns that were considered good. The Scorpion Evo could go toe-to-toe with the MSMC, the Ballista and the DSR were practically interchangeable. It was all kinda just all up to preference. Both the futuristic guns and even the real guns had unique and memorable designs, such as the M8A1's smoothed out carry handle, or the M1216's rotating magazine, or the DSR's bullpup design. And in conjunction with the visual designs, the sounds these guns made were powerful and satisfying. When you fired the Ballista, you fired the Ballista. The whole fucking world knew. Weapons were not the only memorable part of the multiplayer, however. Maps were just as important to the game's legacy. Treyarch took unique locales and formed them into enjoyable, fair maps for players to run around. Take Hijacked, a map that takes place on a yacht. It's considered a fan favorite because of its actually decently structured 3-lane map design with 3 chunks of play space, allowing for a majority of the combat to shift from the front of the boat all the way to the back. Standoff featured a ton of buildings for snipers to set up shop, but also had interiors to those buildings where close quarters gunfights could occur. Yemen is kind of in the same vein, just a bit bigger. I want to stick to the base game, but I'll give some honorable mentions to the DLC. Vertigo is a beautiful looking map, and even though it's a remake of Firing Range from the first Black Ops, who can forget Studio? The progression in this game was rewarding, offering tons of calling card challenges to work through, as well as numerous prestige levels. It was the first game to introduce the diamond camo as well, a camouflage for your weapons that could only be obtained once you get every camo unlocked for every weapon in a certain class. The community collectively thought of these rewards as badass, which only pushed people to achieve them. Nowadays, Activision would take the Cherry Blossom camo, put a grip and a red dot on it, and sell it in the shop for $25. Here you just gotta do the required challenge, it's easy as that. So with all the reasons why people love the multiplayer out of the way, it's time to ask the question, does it hold up today? In my opinion, yeah, these guns and maps are still remembered to this day, and people are begging for COD to bring back things like a proper prestige system and actually good calling cards to work for. But the question of does it still hold up today can be answered in another way. Can it still be enjoyed today? The answer to that is not really. On console, cheats like aimbot and super speed can be installed in-game thanks to the theater mode feature. At one point it was fixed, but people found a workaround and it still plagues the game to this day. And that's just on console. If you play this game on PC, you're risking the safety of your whole computer, as people can transmit viruses across game servers, or even take your computer or entire internet offline temporarily. Thankfully for PC, there is a mod called Plutonium, which adds in anti-cheat, safe servers to play on, and the ability to lock everything right from the get-go, and plenty more technical features. This mod also works for Modern Warfare 3, World at War, and I believe a Black Ops 1 version's on its way. As for console players, you're kinda out of luck. Although the risks are far less on console, it's still annoying to get into a lobby where a slight movement on the stick causes you to bolt forward, or to get into a lobby where some jackass keeps teleporting everyone to himself and just unloads his infinite ammo LMG into the entire lobby. And it sucks even more that Treyarch and Activision just don't care enough to address these issues, even if it is a 10-year-old game. Now let's talk zombies. Zombies on this game is kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, you have some of the most iconic maps in the franchise, mainly Mob of the Dead and Origins, but you also get some of the maps that are regarded as the worst in the series, like Transit and Die Rise. Regardless of the map, however, they all introduced unique features that were definitely a step up from the last game in the series. Black Ops 2 had features like the bank, where you could deposit points from one game into it, then another game you can go and pull those points out. Black Ops 2 Zombies also improved on the Easter eggs introduced in Black Ops 1. Easter egg in the world of zombies, meaning a main quest line that each map has that isn't exactly explained outright to the players. For example, the Origins Easter egg is regarded as one of the best in the series, and the same can be said about Mob of the Dead. And I know I said I'd try not to talk about DLC earlier when I discussed multiplayer, but for dedicated Zombies players, Zombies kind of is the DLC. With multiplayer, you can enjoy everything the game has to offer with the base maps, but Zombies players always kind of got shafted, where the base game would come with maybe 1 to 3 Zombies maps, and the rest of them were paid for. A lot of people who bought the DLC bought it for the Zombies maps. So, does Black Ops 2 Zombies still hold up today? Personally, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think so. Mob of the Dead is probably the only map that I would specifically boot up Black Ops 2 to play. All the other maps just aren't as enjoyable to me, and Origins was remastered in Black Ops 3, introducing a handful of quality of life upgrades, included all the weapons and mechanics that came with Black Ops 3 like gobblegums, and on top of that it just looks better. Black Ops 2 Zombies didn't really have anything outside of the game to work on, in the way that multiplayer had prestige and stuff like that, so there's nothing really to work on. Again, those were all introduced in Black Ops 3, so why not just go play that? Is Black Ops 2 Zombies still playable, however? For the most part, yeah. Hackers are a lot less common, but I think the biggest issue is trying to find players. But you and your friends can all reinstall the game on your Series X's and play a private game of Black Ops 2 Zombies with no issues. So that was Black Ops 2, 10 years later. I want to do more of these videos, so leave a comment on a game you'd like to see in this series. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.